When routine law enforcement becomes a rights infringement, lines blur between justice and oppression. The Weatherford Police Department is under scrutiny due to a lawsuit alleging civil rights violations during an arrest. What drove these events to court, and what does it mean for law enforcement's accountability? Delve deep into this complex legal battle, exploring what's at stake for civil rights and justice across the nation. Welcome to Court Decoded. Today, unravel a significant lawsuit confronting the Weatherford Police Department. This case raises critical questions about civil rights and police accountability, potentially reshaping our understanding of justice in law enforcement. Examine the intricacies of civil rights protection, explore the legal proceedings, and assess the societal impact of such lawsuits. The incident at the heart of the Weatherford Police Department's controversy began as a routine law enforcement action. During a standard patrol in Weatherford, police officers conducted an arrest that would soon spiral into a contentious legal battle. The individual in question, someone with no prior record of significant offenses, found themselves in a situation escalating far beyond expectation. The arrest, now under intense scrutiny, reportedly involved forceful methods and questionable decision-making, leading to allegations of civil rights violations. Understanding how such occurrences develop into legal disputes requires dissecting the police protocols, their execution, and the context in which they occur. Arrests involve a careful balance of maintaining law and order while respecting individual rights. When this balance tips, questions of legality, necessity, and excess arise. This case prompts discussions about how law enforcement operates under pressure and the potential consequences when they exceed their mandate. Now, with legal representatives claiming a breach of constitutionally protected rights, the stage is set for a courtroom battle that could determine accountability measures in future law enforcement operations. Civil rights are foundational to any democratic society, forming the structural bedrock that prevents government overreach and preserves individual freedoms. The U.S. Constitution, specifically through amendments such as the 4th, 5th, and 14th, enshrines these protections. The Fourth Amendment, for instance, guards against unreasonable searches and seizures, necessitating that any law enforcement action be justified by probable cause and conducted under warranted terms. In the context of arrests, this ensures that individuals are not subject to arbitrary detainment and that any deprivation of liberty is procedurally fair. The Weatherford case highlights allegations that these protocols were not adhered to, presenting a classic conflict between state powers and individual rights. Such allegations suggest possible violations of due process, questioning whether the arrest was conducted with the requisite legal foundation or if it overstepped justified legal conduct. In determining if rights have been violated, courts meticulously analyze the arrest's circumstances, evaluating officers' conduct against constitutional benchmarks. This legal scrutiny is critical for both enforcing civil rights and defining the permissible scope of police powers in modern society. Police accountability stands as a cornerstone of trust between law enforcement agencies and the communities they serve. It is through accountability that legitimacy is maintained and public confidence in law enforcement is safeguarded. In the Weatherford case, accusations of civil rights infringement stir significant debate about the department's accountability measures and oversight mechanisms. Effective policing necessitates transparency and response to abuses of power. Civil rights lawsuits like the one facing Weatherford Police Department serve as powerful conduits for instilling reform and deterrence. They compel law enforcement agencies to reassess operational protocols and training methodologies, ensuring officer conduct aligns with legal and ethical standards. Such lawsuits often function as catalysts for change, prompting greater community involvement in policing strategies and emphasizing the importance of advanced training in handling varied civil situations. Additionally, accountability is not solely contingent upon internal reviews, but also on independent oversight to ensure impartial evaluations of contested incidents. This case may reveal deficiencies in existing oversight structures, urging a reevaluation of how police conduct is monitored to prevent future rights violations. Central to the lawsuit against the Weatherford Police Department are claims grounded in civil rights law, specifically under 42 U.S. Code Section 1983. This pivotal statute allows individuals to sue state actors for constitutional violations committed under color of law. The plaintiff's argument rests on the assertion that the arrest was not just excessive in force, but lacked the legal grounding to justify the actions taken by the officers involved. Detailed legal analysis considers whether the officers acted within their rightful authority, or if they exceeded it in a way that deliberately disregarded civil liberties. The doctrine of qualified immunity often shields officers from personal liability unless they violate clearly established statutory or constitutional rights. This defense will likely play a critical role in Weatherford's strategy, posing challenges for the plaintiff to demonstrate unequivocal rights violations. For the courts, dissecting this case involves navigating complex legal precedents, ensuring that rights are reaffirmed without unduly constraining legitimate police functions. The legal adjudication will hinge on interpreting the subtleties of constitutional protections and precedents. Qualified immunity is a legal doctrine pivotal in cases such as the one involving the Weatherford Police Department, designed to protect government officials, including police officers, from liability for discretionary actions performed within their official capacity. The doctrine serves as a barrier unless it can be shown that the officer violated a clearly established statutory or constitutional right of which a reasonable person would have known. It balances the need to hold public officials accountable for civil rights violations with the necessity to shield them from frivolous lawsuits that could hinder their duties. In the Weatherford lawsuit, the officers may invoke this defense, compelling the court to scrutinize if their actions were indeed within reasonable legal bounds. The doctrine's application requires a thorough examination of precedent and the circumstances of the case, demanding that the rights claimed to be violated were well-defined and apparent in similarly situated cases. This case offers an in-depth look at how qualified immunity interacts with the claims and what judicial interpretations mean for similar future lawsuits. The unfolding of this lawsuit has not only captured national attention, but also significantly influenced the Weatherford community. Civil rights litigations often resonate deeply, sparking community discourse on policing practices and institutional trust. In Weatherford, reactions have been mixed, with factions calling for accountability and reforms, while others urge restraint, upholding the police as pivotal protectors. The outcome of this case holds profound implications. It could redefine local law enforcement strategies and either bolster or challenge community police relations. Civil rights cases frequently become a crucible for grassroots activism, igniting efforts toward civic engagement and legislative amendments focused on policing reforms. At the heart of community dialogue is the imperative for transparency and effective policy changes that reflect a balance between security measures and the safeguarding of civic freedoms. This lawsuit thus extends beyond court boundaries, shaping social dynamics and highlighting the persistent conversation on what constitutes just policing and civic responsibility in modern America. The Weatherford lawsuit is illustrative of broader legal trends with potential ripple effects across the nation. The case joins a growing list of civil rights actions scrutinizing law enforcement practices, encouraging legal and policy reevaluations on a wide scale. Should the outcome favor the plaintiff, it may provoke state and national policymakers to reassess guidelines governing police conduct, underscoring the societal push for enhanced accountability standards. Precedent set in this jurisdiction could prompt similar appeals in other communities facing analogous controversies. Such legal activities challenge the foundational frameworks of qualified immunity while exploring alternatives to better protect citizens' rights without impeding law enforcement effectiveness. The national legal dialogue also continues to evolve, spurring debates in legal circles and academic discussions about the balance required to uphold law enforcement credibility while preserving constitutional safeguards. These discussions inform judicial interpretations, influence legislative reforms, and potentially transform future litigation dynamics concerning civilian police engagements. As the lawsuit against the Weatherford Police Department unfolds, it stands poised to prompt significant introspection and evaluation among law enforcement agencies. The path to resolution lies not only within legal confines, but also in the broader understanding and implementation of accountable policing practices. The plaintiff's pursuit of justice is emblematic of a larger movement demanding transparency and ethical oversight in law enforcement. The resolution of this case, regardless of the outcome, may serve as a catalyst for policy dialogues, underscored by community and institutional insights into best practices for policing. Additionally, the conversation extends beyond the courthouse, likely impacting legislative schedules focusing on police reforms and civil rights advocacy. Whether through direct legal shifts or via socio-political discourse, the expectations for transparency in law enforcement grow. Navigating these challenges requires a collaborative effort to align public safety priorities with constitutional values, creating an environment where trust in law enforcement is both tangible and justified. The verdict in the Weatherford case will set a pivotal precedent, influencing how civil rights concerns are addressed concerning police conduct nationwide. If the court rules in favor of the plaintiff, it will symbolize a triumph for civil liberties, emphasizing the judiciary's role in maintaining checks on law enforcement. Such a decision could lead to significant reforms in police practices, further shaping how police interactions are framed, training is structured, and officers' responsibilities are understood. Conversely, a verdict favoring the police department could underscore the constraints and challenges within which law enforcement operates, reinforcing the protective boundaries of qualified immunity. This outcome might provoke legal reconsideration of the thresholds necessary to surmount this defense. Either decision will impact future litigations, shape public policy debate, and calibrate the balance between effective policing and civil rights protections. Ultimately, the case represents a crucial reflection on societal values and norms as judicial systems navigate the intricate interplay of constitutional rights and law enforcement duties. Thank you for diving deep into this complex legal issue with Court Decoded. Engage with us by subscribing for more analytical content, sharing your views in the comments, and liking this video if you found it informative. Keep informed about vital judicial discussions shaping society. We invite you to join our community and continue exploring the intersections of law, rights, and justice.